Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Public Works Committee meeting for July 1st, 2025. The first thing that we have this evening is a acceptance. I'd like to go to the roll call first, and it looks like we have from the council Ann Winterstrand, Barbara Smith, Dwan Wiggins, Nora Najelski-Eitner, and that's it. I think that's pretty good, actually. So we have a quorum. We have minutes from a special meeting of June the 2nd. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes? Ms. Winterstrand, thank you. Is there any changes or comments or additions that I want to add to any of that? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for approval. Hands for approval. And I also want to add Ms. Dunn to the attendance list. Okay, thank you all. Okay, next thing is
Jim, Dwan is abstaining.
Okay, thank you, Dwan. Yeah, hang on a second. I just want to go to the gallery. It's kind of disconcerting when I was in the other view. Okay, so the next item of business will be the public hearing. We have a public hearing for new fees in relation to our solid waste disposal and collection fees for additional garbage bins. So I'll ask Ms. Valladares to introduce this, or do we have the list of all the changes? We want to show that.
The schedule of values, I can pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, why don't we just do that? And we'll see that the changes, the only increases that we're really talking about are for the increase of fee for solid waste disposal. I'm saying the established fee for an extra 65-gallon garbage bin. We've just recently distributed garbage bins, the new 65-gallon garbage bins that are out there now. If somebody wants a second garbage bin, we've established a fee for that of $300, and that's a one-time fee. And then we also have certain increases for pickup and delivery, and the other one is for VM signs for virtual or I shouldn't say VM, but VM signs for special events that people can rent for advertising of special events along the roadside. So do we have anybody online that wishes to comment on any of these items?
Ms. Lauricella, you're unmuted.
Thanks very much. Good evening, Chair and members of the council, as well as the staff. My name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. First, I wanted to wish everyone a safe and great July 4th weekend. I know a lot of the staff will be busy, and all of you will be as well. I wanted just to ask, I'm okay with the fees, especially those that may discourage others from dumping. What I just wanted to know, though, and I could find this out at any point after tonight's meeting if it's not discussed tonight, and that is, will there be data collected and measured against dumping incidents? In other words, will we be able to have measurable, hopefully in the near future, a measurable reduction of incidents of dumping, either either because of more vigilance or because of the higher fees. And there's all kinds of studies about how much something should be, how high the price should be as to changing people's behavior. So I just wondered, will that be something that will be reported to the council and the public in the near future, giving the new fees some time to, I guess, percolate into the masses? Thank you very much and have a nice, I'm going to be speaking at the public participation portion of the regular meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone else on the line?
We do not.
Okay, then we'll close the public hearing and we'll go into the public participation, which we will limit our comments to other items that are on the agenda. I think I know at least one person that may want to speak.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
I
can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Once again, still Diane Lauricella, still living at 21 Little Fox Lane. Tonight, I looked at the agenda for this evening, and mostly my questions have to do with the solid waste and food scrap reports under discussion. I know you all have been busy, meaning the staff especially, and Mr. Frayer. And I was very interested in, number one, as you report on the new program, the new system, I'd like to know how much lead time were the businesses and residential, especially the multifamilies larger than 4 units, how many weeks or months advance notice were people given prior to this deadline of today, I guess, as far as receiving or only being able to use the new black and red containers. Number two, I wanted to know what during our July 3rd celebration, it may be changed due to the weather, but whenever we celebrate July 4th, what plans are there for any recycling of water bottles or cans? Because I really think recycling is patriotic, and in the past I have tried to work with previous administrations on this issue. So are we going to be doing any special recycling? There's tons of water bottles, especially if it's hot out. So I'd like to know, I look forward to listening to whatever plans are made for the festival, the large gathering. And lastly, what will WinWaste's education program include starting, I guess, today? I know that they will be assisting the city and Tom and Vanessa and the rest with some educational ideas. And once again, of course, I look forward to Nordic Zero Waste Coalition adding their ideas and working with the city. We have some really cool ideas we're going to forward to you soon. But I am interested in what the WinWaste plans are for education. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Lauricella. Is there anybody else online who would like to make a comment on this evening's agenda?
No, we have nobody else with their hands raised.
Okay, so we can close the public hearing and the public participation, and then on to new business. First item under new business will be approve the proposed sanitary sewer extension at 2 Muller Avenue. Through technical analysis, it was confirmed that the city's sanitary sewer collection system and wastewater treatment plant can accommodate the additional sewer flow generated from the proposed connections. The proposed sanitary sewer extension shall be constructed in accordance with the DPW and WPCA sanitary sewer permit process and sanitary sewer main extension policy adopted July 7th, 2021, and be referred back to the WPCA board for final acceptance, drawing attached. The drawing was attached in our packets. Can I have a motion on this item? Ms. Smith, thank you. This is over by the Silver Mine River. or near the Silver Mine River, and basically it's an easement to that we're looking for a extension. So, Ms. Valderas, do you want to give us a little bit more background on this?
I'll actually ask Mr. Giron because he's usually the one that is taking them from the engineering, so I'm gonna give him the opportunity to talk. I just want to make a correction. It's not an easement. It's actually a private extension of a sewer, and we do have a procedure that we follow now. If anyone wanna do a private sewer extension, there is a procedure. So I'll let Mr. Giron go over it.
And Wilbur, I'm sorry, I knew you were going to speak on this, and I just looked at the wrong name.
That's totally okay. Good evening, everybody. And yes, I'm Wilbur Giron, permit engineer with DPW. And I've been working with the property owner at 2 Muller Avenue to connect their sanitary sewer. So the owner is Sean's Lawns, and as some of you may know, the property has some existing violations with conservation department. As part of getting into compliance, they are required to connect their sanitary sewer to the city sanitary sewer. They're currently on septic. So I've been working with the property owner to make sure that they are connecting to the sewer following our city standards. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen to show the site plan so that you guys can see the proposal. Okay, you should see on the screen the site plan. Now I'm going to zoom into the bottom left corner where the sewer extension is proposed. I'm trying to zoom in. Give me 1 second. There we go. So you should see on the screen highlighted in yellow, that will be the new sanitary sewer main extension. As part of this extension, the owner had to receive WPCA board approval. It went through a public hearing, and it's gone through the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. As part of this proposed work, the owner is going to extend the sanitary sewer at no additional cost to the city. DPW will be inspecting the sanitary sewer installation to make sure it meets our standards. And the owner will be required to test the main and make sure that that there are no leaks before connecting into the city system. There's really no more details in that. If there are any other question or technical questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Giron?
Yep, I just have a comment because I want to thank Sean's Lawns for I mean, I know that we're forcing them to. I know that the city is forcing this, and I am glad to see it happening. They bid on a project with the city about 1.5 years ago, and we had to deny that. We had to reject the application because they weren't in compliance. And so, what we really like to see is our businesses complying and doing what's right. And so Heather, you were there in the WPCA meeting when this came through that. And so I'm just glad to see it's happening.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'll call all those in favor. 1, 2, 3. Looks unanimous. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is B. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a Fifth Amendment to the original agreement with H.W. Lochner for design and coordination services dated September 29th in connection with the Walk Bridge program. Project number is 301-0176, 303-0188, and project 301-0187, and project 102-297, and project 301-0180 for a total sum not to exceed $376,974.12. Account so noted. This is, it's noted that this is 100% reimbursable by the state. Ms. Valladares, do you want to give us some backup on this?
Yes, so good evening, everybody. So Lochner is really the representative for the WPCA for the Walk Bridge project. So all sewer upgrades that is related to the program, the state is paying 100% of the fee, not only for construction, but also for design, because we are a municipality, so upgrades to our own infrastructure, it's reimbursable. So Lochner is the consultant for WPCA, not only to design, but also to inspect when they are upgrading or installing new sewer. We have this contract with Lochner for quite some time. As you all know, we have been under the Walk Bridge program for about 7 years. And as things keep changing, sometimes we need to add more work under them. And usually the process is the Walk Bridge would initiate some of the service that will be required from Lochner to do. We ask for a price, then we submit what is the scope to the state reviews, then send us a letter that is the POW, that is the one that is attached, saying that we're going to get reimbursed. And then what we do is we need to now increase the contract that we have with Lochner. So this is just to make it everything very transparent, and is really just really channel how that money gets to our consultant to be reimbursed. There were a couple of like old ones that sometimes, instead of coming all the time for just a little bit of an amendment, we know that there is more things that we're negotiating that is in the pipe, so we'll wait until it's a certain amount, and then we just do one amendment. That's the case of this one.
Okay, any questions, any comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the item. All those in favor? Mr. Wiggins? Mr. Wiggins? Okay, it passes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I was on the elevator. I'm sorry.
Okay. Great. Okay, it's unanimous. Item C is approve the fee schedule with the proposed adjustments to the public rates and fees to be set by the Department of Operations and Public Works as per the attached schedule. I think we've all seen the schedule, or have you all seen the schedule? I have a motion first before we go into that. Ms. Smith. I think there's only a couple of items. I think maybe the one that's most important is which is new. Well, the two items that are really new that might warrant some accounts is the $300 that for an additional bin for collection of solid waste, and then the other one, which is the VM signs. What the city has about 5 or so VM signs that we have been putting up around, when there's a public event or something, that we put it up to redirect traffic or direct traffic to some different location. And it's thought now that since we've got these things, why not collect some money for them from some of the organizations that are using them to benefit their fundraising. Ms. Valladares, do you want to comment on a couple of these fees?
Sure. So I'll start with the easy one. It's just the dump fee that we are moving from 102 to 108 is pretty much just updating what we are paying. So usually we do that every year or every other year. So that is just based on our new contract, what is the dump fee. So the other two is new. The first one that I would like to talk about is really the VMS signs. As Mr. Freyer just explained, we have those message signs, that is that orange big thing that you guys see throughout our right-of-way. In the last few years, we saw a big increase on requests of placing them for some type of special events, not only necessary for our own use, but for some type of use. So let's say it can be a race, sometimes is something that is to advertise something that is going on. And it does take some time from our staff to set it up, because we need to send the foreman with the driver, then we need to set up whatever will be the message, and then they still need to go back and pick it up. So we do have already a fee for when we drop some type of barricades and drums for those special events. And then we want to try to kind of also at least cover the cost of our staff that is doing that. Most of the time that we are dropping those signs is also during the weekend or something like that. So that's why we're proposing that drop-off pickup fee, and that will not gonna apply to any city events. It will be just for third parties. Now, the other one, first, do you guys have any questions on the VMS signs?
I do.
Okay,
Thanks. Is this something that's going to be added to the permit process, or is it just an at-will kind of thing for an event? Or do you really want people to use them, like if it's a race, to tell cars to slow down or something?
so usually what happens is that when that's a very good question, Heather. Everyone that want to do like a special event, they have to apply under the special permit, where every single department will look into it. And sometimes is when we are really looking into that event is that some of the comments goes in, and that's when they request the barricades. We are not planning initially to put it on that they can request, because we don't want to be every single weekend driving that. But in case sometimes the police suggest, or we see that there is a need for that, that's when we're gonna bring it on and let them know that they will have to cover that fee.
So it's not just an individual, we want to get away from individuals deciding that they're gonna have a big party next Tuesday and they want to have one of these things in their driveway showing you where the party is.
Yeah, you cannot just request, because we do not have enough. We are not a rental company, but all the time that we need to use that for that type of event, we're gonna charge them.
I think my bigger concern is I see a lot of the permits that are like, oh, we're going to have 200 people there, knowing that, you know, there were more like 500-600 people last year, and they really could use it, and, you know, to really encourage people to be safe. My favorite word. But yeah.
Any more questions on the VMS signs? Okay, so now we'll talk about the extra bin for the garbage. And when we get to the solid waste, I'm happy to give you guys an update of where we are with the program that officially started today. So just to give you a little bit of a feedback, and just to refresh everybody's mind, for those that are eligible for garbage pickup, we deliver one bin to each residential unit that was eligible. So if you are a single home, you got one. If you're a two-family home, you got two. The reason for that was, first, we would like to make sure that everybody received, and also the main idea, as Ms. Loricella stated at the beginning, our main goal as part of our plan that we presented to you last year is to really try to reduce what much of garbage people will put on their bins. So the bin that is 65 gallons, we know that is it enough for more than a week for a family of 4. We know that. And anyhow, so we are trying to, and we are also offering a lot of other programs besides recycling and all that to really minimize what can go on that garbage can. And Tom Zabel will talk more about what are our future programs on that when he is going to do the updates. So now what we will do is we're starting after the council approves the fee, we're going to start getting requests for the extra bins. And it will be in the system where first they're going to call customer service, they're going to place the call, we're going to need to confirm if the person is eligible. So that's what I want to really emphasize. It's not an extra bin for every person that calls. The extra bin is just for eligible residents. So there will be so the call will come in, staff will check eligibility, and then we're gonna reach out back to the resident that request with either a link for them to pay online, or they will be able to bring us a check. After we receive payment, we're gonna schedule that bin to be delivered to that address. As you may remember, every single bin that is dispatched is already assigned to a certain address. There is a barcode with the address of that property. So I know that if people start moving bins around throughout the city, we're going to be able to see if that bin is really for that address. The trucks are able to read that when they're pulling it up. Okay, so why $300? $300, so just to go back a little bit, everyone that is eligible for solid waste, they have their meal rate adjusted covering that fee. If you're not eligible, you're not being charged for garbage collection. And that meal rate covers the one bin that we provided. So now to add a second bin, as everybody knows, is one of our biggest operating costs under Public Works. And we are really trying to be very fiscal responsible to all residents in the city. So what we are proposing is that this second bin will cost $300 because, and will be one time only. And that cost will cover the bin itself, the collection of it, the delivery, the administration fee, and the most important, the tipping fee for a 2-year period. So for the next 2 years, we know that we'll be able to cover the cost of hauling that material out, collecting and hauling. So most of you may ask us, what will happen after year 2? And why 2 years? Because as part of our plan in 2027, the council has the option to go again citywide on the garbage collection. And also at that time, the goal is also to revisit how we're going to be charging for garbage. One of the ideas would be that we are able to break that fee out of the meal rate and really charge as a garbage fee. So then by then, each one will be able to pay accordingly to their use. This is the goal. I'm not sure if we'll be able to implement in 2 years. We have been working very, very hard this past month to get to this point. Staff is working hours and hours every single weekend. We know that we have a plan that was approved by the council, and there will be a little bit of a transition in the next few weeks. We're expecting that, but we're hoping that also 2 years from now, we're gonna come back with what will be the suggestion next. So that's why $300, again, it will cover the bin itself, delivery fee, because we have to make sure that everybody gets it, some administration fee, because it gets a barcode is associated to an address. There is a software behind, and also the most important, we calculate how much each of those bins hold in a year and what will be the cost to dispose that material.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that explanation. And I know we'll talk more about, how it's all been going in the discussion. But my one question is, when will the carts be available to purchase? Because that's one of the, questions that I've been hearing a lot from residents, is when they're available.
So after the council approves the fee, that it will be next Tuesday, it's starting July 14th is a Monday, we're gonna start receiving the requests, because we need to do a little bit of work on our end. Again, because there is a process of making sure that it's eligible, putting the barcode and then getting to the software, because we need to make sure that it will be collected. And also we already placed an order for a couple of thousand of bins to be here. We do not have a final date on when they will be delivered, but we are expecting that by the second week of August, we should be delivering them. So it should take us about a month.
Okay, thanks.
I'll have a better update after we, probably in our next meeting.
Ms. Nadjelski, I know you have a question.
I do, thank you. And it's just a procedural one. So in the ordinance committee, when we do public hearings, we have to do a certain amount of time of notice beforehand. Is that not true here? Because this was not discussed at the prior, like in the ordinance, we have to discuss it at the prior month's meeting before we do the public hearing. So I just wanted to confirm that we've met the requirements necessary for a public hearing in this instance.
We met the requirements, we put everything in the newspaper, and also, as checked with legal, the chair has the right to ask for a public hearing in the meeting if there is enough notice in the newspaper in advance. We made it 2 advertisement in the newspaper. I think that we had to do within 10 or 14 days. Monique knows better, she knows
14
those
days.
days. And we publish them twice in the newspaper.
Great, that's good to hear, thank you. In the future, if possible, the ordinance committee gives us the copies of the public hearing notice so we can see those in our packets. That would be appreciated. Thank you very much, Vanessa. I
That's a
appreciate it.
very good idea. We're definitely gonna do that next time. Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I think that that's a very specific requirement in ordinance. Ms. Nadjelski, I know that, you wait that 30 days, to the next meeting. It's certainly been common in land use and building management, for example, to have a public hearing and then vote the same night.
And related to the public works fee, that's how we have been doing for the last few years. Around this time of the year, it's very common that we have to do some adjustments to our rates, and that's how we have been doing the past few years. We went back to the agenda to check. Another thing also is that we do know that a lot of people are anxious to receive their bins, and we want to make sure that we do not postpone another month.
Ms. Dunn, you had a question?
I guess I'm coming at this probably because, I've been at a lot of fires recently where over occupancy is a huge issue at homes in Norwalk. Probably 3 out of every 4 homes have, 2-family houses with 4 units in it and 5 units in it. Is there a maximum number of bins? I could see, like one house asking for 5 bins for a single family home. Can people only get 2 bins, or can they ask for 3 or 4? Or?
So again, that's why it is very important to check the eligibility, and that's why we do know exactly how many legal units they have there. So
But if I'm a single home and I really use a lot of garbage to the point where I need 2 bins for my single family
you're
home,
gonna be able, as on our online payment, you can buy up to 4.
so I, as a single family home, can buy 4 bins.
Up to 4, yes, at $300 each.
For
We
family.
thought that 4 would be like the right number, because in case you have and why we came up with 4 is exactly because we are limiting residential units up to 4. So if there is a residential unit up to 4 and they want to add one extra bin to each, he can kind of purchase 4.
So if I have a 3-family home, I could have up to
Up
12.
to 4. If you need more, you're gonna be able to send us an email and then tell us why you need to buy 8, for instance, and then we'll talk. But pretty much is when you go on the online, the prompt will give you from 1 to 4. But you have to let us know before because each one is assigned to one address. So if you're buying 3 and you're on a multifamily unit, we need to know where those 3 will go. If it'll go to unit A, B, and C, or will go to B, D, and A. Because that is already assigned into our system.
So theoretically, if you 2-family home, you could have 8 bins outside. Which very well could happen if you really have 5 units and.
You can only, each parcel can only buy 4 as of now.
Okay, all right.
I'm not
The-
expecting that people will buy that many, I'll be honest.
No, I'm trying to track, city services versus what landlords are paying too, and, stuff like that, so. In taxes and stuff. Okay, thank you.
So remember too, also, if you have more than 4 people in a particular unit, then it becomes a commercial property. And so you're gonna have to have commercial trash removal. Okay,
Only if they're
So-
unrelated,
pardon?
only if they're unrelated.
No, if you have 4 living units in a building,
Right, yeah.
that requires commercial trash removal. The city's
More
not
than
gonna pay
4,
that.
Mr. Freya. 4 we still consider residential. More than 4 units, 5 and
More
up.
than 4 units, I'm sorry. So I think what happened is that we found considerable, going through this whole process, we found considerable number of exceptions to where the garbage is being collected, solid waste is being collected by at a number of places that really shouldn't be. So all of a sudden you had this, calls and letters and people being very upset that they're not getting their recycling done, they're not getting their solid waste picked up. And reality is that they shouldn't have been getting it picked up in the first place. So the information that we're collecting, or what Vanessa's and the whole department's collecting, is really phenomenal. When you
Yeah.
start to look at it, the amount of information that we're going to acquire is that exactly how many pounds do I actually accumulate. I put my trash out maybe once every 2 weeks because I just don't have that much. And so it's really going to be a really exciting time in the next 2 years when we start to be able to digest these numbers and the weights that are being used and where we are, where in the city it's really coming from. So it's going to be very interesting.
And what's really cool is if you project, my husband worked for a company, one of his clients was Recycle Bank in New York, where that barcode that Vanessa's talking about, they would read them and people would get rewards. So companies like Apple could give them, a $5 gift card if they reduce their garbage by 10% or something like that. So things like that coming down the pike are kind of really cool. And this is the first step, not that we're going there, but, and people getting information about how much tonnage that they've used all year, it could become kind of a competition for themselves too, which is kind of nice, increase your recycling and reducing your garbage.
As an aside, there's some people that were not eligible for solid waste. Steal a neighbor's bin, and what they didn't realize is that that bin they just stole really has the neighbor's code on it, and so whenever it's picked up, they'll know exactly that it's being picked up from the wrong house. So we're gonna have a police car follow around the trucks and nail all those.
Or another
garbage.
truck just picking them up and putting them back where they belong once in a while.
Exactly. Okay. Um,
I just have a quick
Mr.
question, based on what Heather said. So is the public going to be able to access that information about their usage? Is there going to be like a dashboard or something that public can go and check and monitor what, you know?
Well, we do have on the mayor's dashboard what is the annual collection of the city. We already report those numbers. We are not able
But
yet.
individual, yeah.
One part of the new contract is that the Win Waste will have to report to us. They have to provide us some data annually about contamination, and we're gonna be able also to break up by neighborhood. So depending on the day that we analyze the data, we know, let's say if it is a Tuesday pickup, we know exactly which area we're serving on Tuesday. So we can always go back and, for instance, improve our public outreach to that area. So again, we have been extremely busy trying to roll out the program. So the next few weeks, we are just pretty much making sure that we didn't miss anybody that is eligible, and trying to really clean up the data that we have. We are also trying to educate people as we go through. We create some door hangers that we're gonna kind of start to tag some of those bins that may be overflow that supposedly now should not be. If there is any contamination that we see in the garbage or in the recycle, also we're gonna tag them. And also I think that, you know, will take a little bit of time for them to kind of get used to. But as you all said, I think that we're just planting the seed to have one of the best programs in solid waste here in the area. We are being look as a role model for other municipalities. We have been receiving a lot of calls. We are now in another study with the WestCog where they want a lot of our input because the other municipalities want to see what we are doing and how this turn out. I think that there's still a lot of work to get done, but the good thing is that if we can make this as the baseline, we will have a lot of opportunities to grow. And then, yes, we'll be able to have a much better data. We'll be able to be more specific on the public outreach. We can reduce contamination, and also we can try to reduce the cost of solid waste because it is a global problem as of now.
Any other comments, any questions?
I'm sorry, I had one more from a resident. So the places, the condos that are not getting garbage pickup, they should still be getting recycling?
It depends. So this is not if it is a condo with more than 5 units, they are not receiving any more type of collection.
No recycling.
No.
Okay.
And I can also explain the reason why that decision was made. It wasn't made by me. Was a decision that was part of the plan and the committee. The recycling market in the past was a revenue source for us. The more recycle we collected, more money we would make and would also help us subsidize the garbage collection. Since COVID, the Asian market crashed, and now we pay to get rid of recycle. So one thing that was decided when we draft the plan was that we would not be doing collection at commercial properties. So what is commercial is what the land use code defines in planning and zoning as commercial. Any mixed use, commercial, or units with more than 5 units.
So the reason I'm asking is we have a neighborhood here where there's like very much standalone houses, but they have a common like wetland area or something, which makes them a condo, which means they don't get garbage or
Some
recycling?
of the single homes, we revisit and depending, and I can talk to you offline, some of them was, grandfather in.
Okay, do you know what I'm talking about then? Probably.
There are a few of those throughout the city, but
Okay.
they should have received a letter by now.
All right, I'll talk to you.
It came as a real shock to some people because they didn't realize that they were either in a common interest community or a condo association. They had a standalone house and they said, well, I own my house. And the
Right.
reality is that the developer had conceived of that development. It was a common interest community or a condominium, and then it falls under a commercial. And as a matter of fact, they are, the assessor comes up with that, well, part of the assessor's decision is that more than 5 people, and also goes back and sees how it was originally designed.
And so at that point, so if people are stopping getting recycled, does that mean that they're just commingling the solid waste and the recycling when they pay for garbage pickup? Or do they
shouldn't.
typically hire a separate recycling company versus a separate garbage?
Usually the private haulers can haul both things, and the fee for each one is very little. Today I had a conversation with a resident that by mistake he received a bin. He was very nice to call us, to let us know. And then I said, you're right on the corner. I know it was a mistake. Why do you want to be eligible? And he said, no, I want to continue with my private hauler. So
But-
the fee that he pays, it was little and all that.
And just to be clear, those of us who don't get garbage pickup will still continue to get recycling pickup.
If you are residential with less than 4 units, yes, and yes.
All right, thanks. That's it.
Just my last thing, just so you guys can have an idea, we are serving pretty much on garbage and recycling about 34% of the cities being picked up, even in the new plan, and in recycling only another 42%. So there is only 24% that will not going to be served.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving along. D is authorized Mayor Harry W. Rilling to award a contract agreement with Star Construction Corporation in the amount of $2,484,203.50 with a 10% contingency of $248,420.35 for project 4439 TMP 2025-2, which is West Rocks Road Sidewalk Project, and State Project 102-365, and also Project 102-374 accounts so noticed. Do I have a motion? Ms. Dunn. This is a TPM project that I'll turn over to Greg. This is in the area of West Rocks. And it's got, this also, we've got a couple of really good grants that have been secured, and one through the local road accident reduction program, and another one from Jim Himes from about a year ago. So I'll turn it over to Greg. You can give us some more details on this.
Thank you, Mr. Freyer, and good evening, everyone. So as you mentioned, this is a combination of 2 federally funded projects, supplemented by local capital funds, which serve as the required local match for both of these funding programs. There's DOT project numbers, as DOT has procedural oversight of both funding programs, and we received authorization to award the project on June the 12th, just a few weeks ago. With both of these projects along the same corridor of West Rocks Road, which basically carries the limits from Adams Avenue up to Creeping Hemlock, which is about 2 miles. we consolidated both projects into one single construction bid. As Jim mentioned, Mr. Ferrer mentioned, Project 102365 is funded through the local accident reduction program. And this portion includes installation of ADA compliant sidewalk ramps at key crossings along the corridor. It'll incorporate traffic calming measures, including multiple raised crosswalks, RFBs, which are the rectangular rapid flashing beacons for pedestrians, along with speed sign flashing beacons for vehicles. These treatments will enhance the pedestrian safety along the corridor, which of course there are 3 schools along West Rocks Road. And based on existing data, it indicates that this corridor has experienced excessively high speeds based on data and as well as feedback from the police department as well. Additionally, to the 30365 project, we were awarded $1.4 million through Congressman Jim Himes as part of the congressionally directed spending back in 2022. We had a press conference about it in front of West Rocks Middle School a few years ago. This project is also administered through DOT. This project is dedicated to the installation of ADA compliant sidewalks along the West Rocks Road corridor, approximately 2 miles in length. And it will provide a dedicated pedestrian way for students and pedestrians, as there are 3 schools along the corridor. So all in total, both of these projects together, we're really excited to finally get this moving. And DPW has been a great partner in coordinating on this project, as there have been some adjustments to the drainage as well. And all this design work was done in-house by the TMP's internal design team. So we're really excited to finally get this project awarded and under construction soon.
Any questions for Greg? Any comments? All right. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, just glad to see it coming to fruition. It's just been talked about for so many years. And there was a friend who was calling, periodically, who walked West Rocks for many years. When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And then she retired and moved away. So she's not seeing it happen, but it's really going to make such a huge difference, especially with the schools there. It's great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited to finally get this moving.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, unanimous again. Great, thanks. So item E, authorize Mayor Harry W. Rilling to award a contract agreement with Teutonic Engineering Consultants, Geologists, and Land Surveyors, DPC Inc., and M&J Engineering for task-based services related to Project 4453 TMP 2025-4, construction, inspection, and administration. This agreement will be for 1 year period and billable on hourly basis, with an option to negotiate an extension for 2 additional terms of 1 year, accounts so noted. So this is for inspections on projects. With all the grants that we receive, the amount of details that have to be collected and reported on can be kind of onerous. So this is somebody that's going to come in and keep tabs on the details that have to be submitted to be in compliance with the contracts. Greg, can you give some more information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is partially tied to the West Rocks Road project. Because it's those projects are federally funded. The record keeping and the daily inspection reports are vital because it's based on a reimbursement basis. So we need to have an inspector on site every day and every hour, watching the contractor and keeping track of all the quantities and all the work that's being completed, so that the city can be reimbursed through the federal government for all the work that's being done. So this provides construction, inspection, and administration services contract to these two firms on a task base or a basis, so that we can, allocate an inspector on site every day, and as well as keeping the the records and the books, so that when we do submit for reimbursement, we get that. And these will not only, this contract agreement with these two firms not only provides us with an inspector for West Rocks, but for other future upcoming projects as well, which will have similar daily bookkeeping requirements that are required, per the funding source, whether it's through state or federal. So it's just having that extension of the city TMP staff to be out on site every day and coordinating with the contractor and potential utility conflicts that may come up on a daily basis, as well as coordinating with the public out in the field as well, if there's any disruption to their front driveway access or anything that may come up. So it's just having that that extension of the city staff being out there on a daily basis with the contractor and dealing with any issues that may pop up during construction. So it's really maintaining that accurate daily quantity tracking and detailed bookkeeping, to ensure compliance and kind of facilitate those reimbursements to the city, and also working with the contractor on a daily basis.
Any questions, comments? I have one question, Greg, is that we don't talk about any dollars here that I see. Is this all part of existing contracts? Is this built into the contracts, or is this over and above? And do we have any idea of the amount of money this is?
So it's task. So because it's a task-based contract, it's based on how many projects are ongoing. So right out of the gate, for instance, like the West Rocks Road project would be our first project. So we wanted to kind of set it up with some flexibility, because there may be some times when, for a month or two, we may not need an inspector for a job,
Right.
but then for the next 6 months, we will need someone. So each year it's going to vary based on the workload of projects ongoing. So we didn't want to lock ourselves into a specific number. We have an hourly wage sheet that we requested from the consultants through the RFQ process. And it's just based on the 35-hour work week. But again, we just want it to be flexible, depending upon the number of jobs ongoing on an annual basis.
Yeah. I guess, how do we know when we have, or how do we know how to fund those accounts in that case? I noticed that, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. No, I was just going to say, so each time that we request one of them through an on-call contract that's task-based, we would ask them to provide a proposal, whether it's a 6-month, 8-month, or however long the job is. And we would review the proposal based on the price to cover that, whether based on the number of staff that would be needed on their end to daily inspect that. Because each project's going to be different. Like for West Rocks, we need them out. We need daily, observation and construction inspection. Other projects, it may not be daily. It may be just, part-time, where we'll need an inspector on board. So each project's going to differ. So we just wanted to have that flexibility.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay. All those in favor? Okay, that looks like, Mr. Wiggins, are you in favor?
Yes, I raised it.
Okay, sorry, didn't see it. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Greg. Item number F. There's two parts to this. I'll read both of them together since one is the contingency. F1, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a third amendment to the December 12th, 2023 agreement between the city of Norwalk and M. Rondano for purchasing project 4322 DRG 2023-3 on-call drainage at various locations for the sum not to exceed $900,306.75. Account so noticed. And number two, the contingency portion of this would be authorize the Chief of Operations of Public Works to execute orders on a contract with M. Rondano, Inc. for project DRG 2023-3 on-call drainage improvements at various locations for a sum not to exceed $90,030.68. Accounts so noted. This is an on-call drainage improvements for various locations. And there is a price sheet out there that indicates, it kind of standardizes each one of the items that are going to be added to that particular project, but each project can be customized. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Meehan, who will give us an update on more details on this. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Freyer. Yes, as you stated, we have a current contract with Rondano Incorporated. They're our on-call drainage contractors. They've done a considerable amount of work for us. We use them, utilize them a lot for as a paving operations a lot of the times in preparation for a lot of our road work, and also for some isolated drainage incidents around the city that can be called on a limited basis. We have a current contract with them that goes until I believe February, expires then, and we're just looking right now to add funds to the particular account because we have a lot of work for them in preparation for a lot of paving of our roads and a lot of drainage situations in smaller sections of the city itself. So and a lot of these the listed accounts include the ones that have been approved for the beginning of this year as well, this fiscal year. So Mr. Fair, the items that you referenced are actually unit prices that are already in the existing contract. So there's no change in that. We're not looking to have any type of change in unit prices or renegotiate a new contract. We're simply looking to add funds to the current contract because we do have a lot of work for them.
No, I assume that since that's what that whole sheet that's in the package delineates. Okay, great. Any comments or questions? It's done. All those in favor? Okay, that's
Unanimous.
it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is we have tree operations and programming. Chris Torrey, do you want to bring us up to date with tree work?
Yes,
Looks
hello
like a
everyone.
busy-
Thank you for your time.
busy month.
For removals, we had a total of 10 trees removed, 7 on public property, 2 on parks, 1 on school property. And we safety pruned 41 trees, 33 trees in the city right away, 3 trees in the school property, and 5 park trees, locations noted at the bottom. I thought this was an exceptionally good month, being that we only took down 10 trees. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Have we got, I know last year we took a lot of, what is it, the Gift of Heaven trees, the ones that with the spot on lantern flies?
Tree
Is
of
that,
Heaven.
pardon?
Tree of Heaven, right? That's what it's called.
Yes, and we haven't removed any recently. It doesn't seem to be as bad. I'm knocking on wood right now, but it doesn't seem to be so far this season a problem like it has been. At least where I am. But
Is it too early in the season, perhaps?
it might be. I mean, but the warmer weather is here, and this is typically when they started in the last few years was in June.
Does the city remove those off private property, or is it just, I mean, if somebody had a real big forest of those in his backyard or something like that, would the city remove that, or does it have to be on city property to be removed?
It has to be on city property. We're not insured to do tree work on private property, any work really on private property. Without a right of way, Vanessa can explain better the legalities of us working on private property, which is rare.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I'm just wondering if it's, if we're inundated with these lantern flies, you want to try to mitigate it somehow or other. And the only way you can do it is chop down all those trees.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't seen any as like last year, like especially at the wastewater treatment plant where they were a lot there. In walking around, I haven't seen any.
Okay, great. That's good to hear. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Torres?
I'm
Ms.
just
Smith?
adding, I saw a lanternfly 2 days ago. in my
You
deck.
jinxed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty bummed to see it, but only one. But where there's
Great.
one, where there's
Where there's
one,
one, there's more, right?
that
Yeah. Just step on it.
But I will definitely keep you guys informed if we start seeing more and taking down more tree of heavens and locations for the various areas of the city.
thanks, Chris.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
I have seen the nymphs all around my garden,
Oh, no,
yeah,
I'm in Cranberry. They haven't gotten here yet.
I'm using vinegar.
Does it work?
It seems to, I mean, they move. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a deterrent, but
That's what I used to spray
it
bottle.
doesn't damage to my knowledge, it doesn't damage the tree, but it deters them from hanging out there. But
Yep.
I think they're still in the nymph stage. That's probably
yeah,
why
they're nymphs, yeah.
tiny black with white
The
dots.
spotted, yeah.
I've seen a lot of them, but
Mhm.
giant lanternflies yet.
Yeah. Great. Good news.
But if there is a tree in heaven, in your districts, and your constituents reach out, we certainly will take it down if it's on city property. And just so you guys know, only 1 inch of a tree needs to be on city property for it to be considered a city tree. So it may have been planted 50 years ago on private property and grown into city property, which now makes it under our ordinance a city tree.
Sounds like you're trying to generate some business.
It keeps me busy.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't we talk about solid waste, some of the tonnages, and more importantly, maybe some recycling. Tom, can you give us an update on what's going on? I think one of the questions that one of our constituents had was, do you have anything special planned for the holiday weekend?
Nothing specific planned for this weekend, but we do continue to offer our iRecycle events once a month. And those are like a mobile can and bottle redemption event. So I know it's great to capture them in large, but also we are trying to make available the opportunity for residents to get their own return from redeemable bottles.
Always looking out for the citizens. That's what's important.
Yeah.
So how about our tonnage waste? In the recycling and the and the solid waste is looks like it's pretty much static from prior years in this particular month. Is that nothing unusual in any of those numbers?
Yeah, it looks pretty steady. We may have taken in a little bit more at the transfer station than typical, but as long as it's under like a 10% range for tonnage, I think it's not anything to raise any alarms. And I think our curbside recycling, we should see that go up now with our sort of standard size carts across the city. We should get some more adoption into the recycling program with residents trying to get the best use of all the programs that's offered to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
What about, is there a way that we can relate, well, specifically in areas as Vanessa was saying a little earlier, that where we see increase in recycling, we should see a corresponding decrease to some extent in solid waste tonnage?
We could potentially see that over like a daily collection based on what the truck brings in. We can maybe see like the Monday route in a certain neighborhood area. That garbage truck could, decrease its tonnage over maybe the next couple of months. But it wouldn't be as granular to like the resident.
Yeah, but in total, our costs are gonna go down because we're gonna have less solid waste.
Yep, yeah, correct. We'll see a hopefully a decrease in solid waste tonnage, which is our most expensive material to dispose of. And as we transfer that over to recycling, that should bring our overall costs down.
Okay. One other quick question. I ask this every month, but do we have any plans that are getting closer to implementing on composting and expanding the composting program?
Nothing specific at the moment. We did surpass last year's tonnage for the compost, and we've still got 1 month left to report. So the next meeting will have our full fiscal year's tonnage. But it's definitely on our sort of minds to kind of look at expanding in the future, because it's going to definitely be another resource for residents to further reduce the amount of waste they're putting in their garbage cans.
Right. So is there any target areas that you think that maybe may be fruitful in the future? I mean, we've got Cranberry, we've got Rowayton that are pretty good. They seem to be hot and heavy. Where else can we, or could we even start to talk it up, or how would we go about getting local involvement in one of these?
Yeah, I think we could reach another big portion of residents by adding a couple more drop-off sites, because it's really, I think, for a lot of folks who aren't environmentally motivated, it's like a convenience factor combined with sort of like economic. So I'm sure we'll get some more adoption from residents who don't want to purchase a extra waste cart, and maybe we'll see some behavior changes start to come from that. But I think before we get into maybe a curbside collection, adding some drop-off sites might be a more cost-effective way to kind of generate some more adoption to that sort of composting practice.
Is there any particular areas that spring to mind where you think that may be more fruitful?
I know our Tuesday garbage route is pretty heavy, and that's sort of one of the areas that doesn't have a food scrap drop-off location nearby. So potentially targeting that area could provide a good return.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Tom? Any comments? Nora, Ms. Nadjelski,
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly follow up on that. I think that's something that in general, this committee has been very supportive of and excited about. What are the sort of barriers and timeline to getting a couple more sites open?
I can answer that, Tom.
Okay.
So the good thing is that as of this year, the food scrapping is an official program. It's not anymore a pilot program. We're able to include in our operating budget, what is already a first step to try to add more areas. One thing that we are considering is that for us to be able to add those other sites, because of our permitting with Connecticut Deep, we need to have either a gated area or that we have supervision during the drop-off hours. So that's why it makes it a little more tricky. We do have some ideas. We are not ready to disclose those ideas yet because we are trying to evaluate how would be the hours and how we would staff them.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments, questions? Last on our list is some of the status of ongoing projects. Mr. Meehan, can you give us an update on some of the exciting projects that are, we got a couple that are nearing completion too.
Yes, yes. We have actually a lot of our projects are hopefully near completion. The Heather Lockwood drainage project, which is a multi-million-dollar project, grant funded, as most of you know. All the drainage has been installed on that project. So on all the main storm lines and the satellite catch basins that get attached to those, they are all inside of this. And right now, the contractor is just planning out his permanent pavement repairs for the area. Not the pavement itself, but the patch repairs. That's normal standard for this. And he's going to be completing a lot of his punch list items as well, repairing driveways and anything that else gets associated. But all drainage work is complete as of now. So Beacon Street has been very active, and the contractor is almost complete with all the installation of the entire sidewalks and curb. From when there's still a few areas on one end by Sunset and the other by Strawberry Hill by itself that they're still working on, but they should be completed with that hopefully, weather permitting, sometime in the next couple of weeks, if not sooner there. And Grumman, there's been a lot of paving activities. They've already, the entire major work's been done from Live Oak Road up to the Merritt Overpass. And it's divided into 3 sections because of the size of that project. And right now, so the top portion of this is already complete, minus any type of traffic markings, which is handled afterwards. And then afterwards, right now, they're working on the areas between Ellen Street and the Merritt Overpass. They're hoping to pave by late next week or early the following week. And shortly after, the curbs and sidewalks will be installed. So, and then they'll go down to the bottom portion over there. And that they are also working on the Berkeley area, but in preparation for the final paving, which anticipate that within a few weeks. So we are busy right now. So yeah, but we're anticipating new projects coming out. We've had things advertised. We had one project has been out to bid for Witch Lane, and a few others that are going to be coming in within the next couple of weeks.
I was hoping to get to Witch Lane. How about the bridge? Where do
Oh
we
yes,
stand on our
yes,
bridge?
yes. That's West Cedar Bridge. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, it is well underway. They're making very good progress. They're still working on the piles. There's going to be a considerable amount of time that they're working on that. But pedestrian access is still all the way through. They are the detours. Residents have been very patient in dealing with the detours that they've had to do, and we are all very thankful to them for that. They are progressed to go for the rest of the year, but we're hoping they don't, as of right now, they do not appear to be behind schedule. So we're very happy with the progress.
And that's supposed to be, let's say, mid-autumn?
I believe, yeah, I believe sometime at the final date, I believe is
December. It is
November. December,
yeah,
yes.
December, yeah, with they have until the end of December to finish.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other good, exciting stuff?
Well, again, we do have a lot of stuff, but if anybody has specific questions about any of our particular projects, those are our major ones at the moment, but we're doing minor ones all around the area, but as they come up. But if anybody has particular questions, I'll be happy to try to address them.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Meehan?
So Mr. Freire, if nobody has a question, I just want to say one more thing related to our solid waste collection. I just want to first, again, thank you all for the support. As I mentioned, we know that it is a transition. I know it's not going to be easy for those that will be affected by the transition, but we are really working very hard to make sure that we're going to be able to implement the plan in the most efficient way. So if any of the constituents get back to you, or if they have any questions, we are recommending them to call customer service. We meet with customer service once or twice a week, so we are aware of what are the questions. They also have exactly most of the Q&A that we already worked on for them. They are very well known about eligibility. They can pretty much kind of answer them right away. And if pass their filter that they believe that could have been something, it is sent it to us. Unfortunately, I recommend do not call Tom's or Cam or me, because we are really trying to make sure that the program goes well in the next couple of weeks. We're still going through all our GIS and all our spreadsheets to make sure that everybody that is eligible ended up got in our system. We learned early this morning that there was a data error in the database, and probably 50 people ended up getting out, but we're going to try to put them back in ASAP. So again, we know that there will be a couple of ups and downs. Now it will be a little bit choppy the next few days, but just let us know what are the issues, and we're going to try to address as soon as possible. Again, if we're able to implement this, I truly believe that you guys did a very good job on supporting this plan, and will open a lot of opportunities in the future for how to make the city sustainable and also financial cautious about this market that has been increasing a lot. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I think this has been a monumental switch over, and I think that really have to commend you and your staff for, yeah, there's been a lot of questions. A lot of people have questions about it, but when you start to think about 42% of the people that are going to have a change in some of their day-to-day, day-to-day goings on that nobody ever really thinks too much on. You put your garbage out, it gets collected, and that's the end of it. And so I think what you've done is pretty remarkable. With, yeah, there's always going to be people that have questions. There's always going to be issues. And the other thing is that what you found as you went through this thing, that there was a lot of exceptions to the rules out there. There were people that were having trash collected that should not have been having it, and people getting recycling picked up and they shouldn't have gotten it. So I think that you've done a great job considering the scope of the project that you've addressed. And so congratulations on getting this far anyway. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I just want to concur with everything you said, Jim. Vanessa, it really has been monumental, and many years in the making, right? And change can be really challenging, and I think we're certainly hearing some complaints, right? And just one of the ways that I've been addressing it is I actually have gone to someone's house, and I stopped at customer service. I happened to be at City Hall, got a flyer, and I know this was sent out with the garbage cans, but the recycling flyer, and I see Ms. Lauricella is still on, but what I keep saying is, like, remember what Diane Lauricella tells us: reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And so, the more you remember to recycle, the more you recycle, the less you're going to have in your garbage, and that's what we're trying to, re-educate people. And, so I found that was pretty successful.
Good.
Sometimes if, someone's not happy, they're not happy, and they're really going to let you know it. But I think that, just really getting that message across that, we're trying to really change behavior for the betterment of the whole city has been relatively helpful.
No, I think you've done a great job.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, comments? Is there any other motions? Ms. Dunn?
Adjourn.
All those in favor? Okay,
Good
thanks,
night,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks a lot.